Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle flying solo on today's show. May is just flying by. It's one of my favorite months of the year. It is just zooming by here. I want to take a look at, we've talked a decent amount on the show about how we think Ohio State's going to use more odd fronts this year. It just makes a lot of sense. They feel good about their depth at defensive end. They feel good about their linebackers. A lack of depth at D tackle, but they have guys they like at D tackle, like Edric Houston and Caden McDonald. Will Smith Jr. might be on the rise. Matt Patricia goes out of his way to talk about, and he walks the walk here. There's proof that in his past stops in his coaching career that he will adjust his defensive scheme to the strength of his players. And all coaches say they do that. Some do it more than others. Patricia's one of those. So I expect more odd fronts this year. I still think the base defense is going to be that 4-2-5 that Ryan Day really likes, but I do think we're going to see some 3-4 sets in there. I'm going to get into that. We're just a week and 2 days away from Popcorn Festival, as I'm calling it. The hearing in Indianapolis. That starts a week from Friday. June 6th is a week from Friday. So our friends up north have their Committee on Infractions hearing in 9 days. So a lot to get into on the show. I see a lot of my friends here in the live chat. It's hard to keep up when I'm doing the show solo, but before we get to matters of Ohio State business, I'm going to let you guys know about this great product, Timeline, and a great deal you guys can get. So Timeline's MitoPure supplements, which is what these are the best supplements for healthy aging. I mean, flat out. I've been using them for about 2 months now, and I can definitely tell a difference. Can't you guys tell? So why is taking Timeline's MitoPure supplements important to me? I feel stronger after my workouts. I recover quicker after working out. I have more energy, period. And I want to support my cellular health. Speaking of which, cellular health is the foundation of well-being and longevity. These MitoPure tablets from Timeline recharge your cells and support any goals you have by making your systems work better. And here's the deal we can get you. Timeline is offering 10% off your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/bucknuts to get 10% off. That's TIMELINE.com/bucknuts to get 10% off. All right, my friends. Yeah, I think we're going to see a ton of odd fronts this year. Like one lineup I wrote down, like you could start the game off with, or just go to it if you don't start the game off with. You could have obviously like K-Mac would be the one tech and a nose guard and a 3-4. You have big Bo Atkinson as one of the DNs, big Edric Houston, who's really a defensive tackle now, but he could play some strong side D end in a 3-4. And then you'd have a bunch of options for the linebackers / defensive ends. I mean, you could use, let's say, Kenyatta Jackson on the outside. You could use maybe Sonny Styles on the other outside. You could have Peyton Pierce and Arvell Reese in the middle. You could have Caden Curry out there instead of Jackson. You could have Logan George out there. You could have CJ Hicks out there. They have options. Even Zion Grady. So you have a bunch of guys that can play defensive end, outside linebacker, and even those two inside linebackers that they love with Peyton Pierce and Arvell Reese. That's the other thing. I don't think they're just going to play two linebackers a lot because they love Peyton Pierce, and we know they love Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese. Those three guys are going to play a lot. Are they always going to be on the field together? Of course not, but we're going to see a lot more three linebacker sets this year than we did last year. We're going to see a lot more odd fronts. And I think we're going to see some times. And again, I mean, I just ran through all those guys. Look at these guys that you could use as either lining up on the defensive line as a defensive end or off the, standing up as a linebacker. You could use, obviously, Bo Atkinson, which was a great get in the portal. Edric Houston, like I mentioned. These are guys that can play defensive end, even though Edric Houston is a defensive tackle, or could play some linebacker. So guys like, again, Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, all these guys could come off the edge. Logan George is a guy that's underrated. CJ Hicks has made the move. So I really like the idea of them using more odd fronts this year, a lot more. Adjust to your personnel. They obviously need, depth at D tackle, and Ryan Day was outspoken about that. They didn't get anybody in the portal. I do think Will Smith Jr. is on the rise. I think he's a guy that's going to play, and they're going to need those other D tackles, the true D tackles, to step up. They're going to need, let's say Will Smith does step up as a top backup behind Caden McDonald and Edric Houston. Let's say Will Smith is that number 3. They still have to have a number 4, even if they are going to have more odd fronts, they still need 4 true defensive tackles at least that they can count on. So that means, let's say Will Smith is one of them. That means Jason Moore or Eric Mensah or Tywone Malone have to step up. Maybe one of those true freshmen. Oh, that's a lot to ask for like a Jarquez Carter. But the kid was a tackles for loss machine his senior year playing against good competition in Florida. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I mean, you have a lot to work with there. And I think the fact that they were able to bolster their defensive end position in the portal was huge. Yeah, they didn't get what they wanted at all with tackle, but getting both Bo Atkinson and Logan George, that's nice. And despite losing JT Tuimoloau, second-round pick, Jack Sawyer, fourth-round pick, just all the leadership they brought to the table. You are still bringing back some veterans with Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson, who are, of course, going to play a ton. And you can move guys around. And having Peyton Pierce as that true middle linebacker allows them to use Arvell Reese now more as a chess piece. You can move Arvell Reese around. Instead of saying Arvell's just middle linebacker, that's all he's going to do. And he would be very good at that. But now you can move Arvell around a little bit, utilize his athleticism. He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything. He can rush the passer. He's going to stop the run. He can drop in coverage. I mean, we know Sonny's a freak of nature. So is Arvell. Both those guys are about the same size. Matt Patricia loves them. I love when he would talk about those guys. He's like, I love big linebackers. These are not just big linebackers. These are big linebackers that run like they're small linebackers. He's like, I feel like I'm at home. So these guys like Patricia a lot. I actually did a story for the site. Well, I was working on it this morning. I'll actually post it for the site a little bit later on Lorenzo Styles Jr. just gushing about Matt Patricia. So look for Bucknuts. Look for that on Bucknuts a little bit after the show is posted. I will have a story on Lorenzo Styles Jr. taking over for Jordan Hancock. So there you go. Again, I can't stress it enough. They do still need to get some of those other D tackles to step up. We can say, oh, they're going to do odd fronts and play to their strengths. Okay, that's all well and good. You're going to play some smash mouth football games where you just can't just go out there going 3-4 for the majority of the game. There's times you're going to need, 3 defensive tackles out there if you're on the goal line. They were so good at that last year. You had Ty Leak and Ty Hamilton, of course, the starters. And then they'd bring K-Mac in. It was almost like a cheat code. Those 3 guys in there would just clog everything up. And then you had a couple more draft picks on the outside with Sawyer and Tuimoloau. You have Caleb Downs crashing down, Lathan Ransom, basically like it was a linebacker. Like in those situations, they just would kill him. And we all point to the Texas game, obviously. That's the, 2 plays before the Jack Sawyer famous play. They just went from 2nd and goal at the 2 to 3rd and goal at the 9 like that. Because Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom just blew up that running play. So they were the best goal line defense in the country last year, the best defense, period. And a big reason was the depth. Obviously, we know the starters were fantastic. All 4 starters were drafted. 1st rounder, 2nd rounder, 4th rounder, 5th rounder. It's one thing if you have like all your entire defensive line gets drafted, but it's like 4th round, 6th round, a couple 7th rounders. Still not bad, right? Your entire defensive line got drafted. When one is a 1st rounder, one's a 2nd rounder, one's a 4th rounder, one's a 5th rounder, that's really getting it done. I don't think I've ever seen that at Ohio State. The entire defensive line getting drafted, A, and then B, the lowest pick was 5th round. So what an awesome defensive line. But who's going to be the Caden McDonald of last year? Who's that guy this year that's going to come in and be a force off the bench? Maybe it's Will Smith Jr. So they need guys to step up there. All right. So here we go. Michigan scandal starts. Well, scandal. No, the scandal had started a long time ago. The notice of allegations, the Committee on Infractions hearing next Friday. What do I think is going to happen? I don't really know for sure. I don't, like as I've told you guys before, I think that they're not going to get the proverbial hammer, which would entail like the death penalty, like what SMU had, where you just don't have a program for, 1 or 2 years and you have to build from scratch. They're not going to get that. I don't think they're going to get the title stripped. A lot of people disagree with me on that the national championship. And I understand the argument that it should be. I'm not arguing that. I'm just telling you what I think will happen. I don't think the national championship will get stripped. The Asterix national championship will get stripped. By the way, have you guys seen the the image of Michigan's new helmet, quote unquote? It's like the winged, the winged helmet, but it looks like an Asterix. It's so funny. It's just like a big like yellow Asterix on the helmet. It looks hilarious because it kind of looks like their regular logo. Anyway, I don't think the title is going to get stripped. I do think they're going to lose some wins. They're going to have to vacate some wins. They're going to have probably a postseason ban, which does anybody think they're really a national championship contender this year anyway? Vegas certainly doesn't, but that doesn't help. That certainly doesn't help the cause. You also miss out on that practice time if you don't have a bowl game. So I think they'll get a 1 or maybe 2 year. 2 year, that would be. I tend to think if I had to guess, I'll just give them a 1 year postseason ban, which it should be 2. And more penalties for Sharon Moore. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's not just going to get the 2 years that Michigan self-imposed and they got to pick which games. I keep using the analogy. That'd be like if you're like in high school or something, there's a big party on Friday and, but you get in trouble. Your parents ground you on Thursday and you're like, okay, I'm grounded. But can I be grounded on Tuesday? So I can still go to the party on Friday? No, you don't get to pick when you're grounded. Okay. You don't get to pick when you're suspended. It's ridiculous. Everything up there is just absolutely ridiculous. So that falls right in line. So there's no way the NCAA is going to be like, oh, okay, 2 games. And when you get to pick when you do, I tend to think that's going to get tripled. I think he'll probably get 6 games. We'll see if he gets a show cause. That'd be interesting. So, get your popcorn ready, my friends. The Popcorn Festival is coming to a town near you. Now, is the Texas game is going to be at 8 now? I mean, no, I don't have breaking news. There's a lot. I mean, the fact that they haven't come out and said it's going to be a noon kick when they've announced that they're going to have the game, they love talking about big noon kickoff. I think that the blowback, especially from their most powerful member, Ohio State, I think has gotten to them. I'm going to get to that in a moment. I do want to let you guys know about Huel. I love Huel. You guys have heard me talk about them for a while now. It's really cool. It's convenient. It's healthy. It's awesome. Tastes good. The Huel Black Edition ready to drink is a meal in a bottle. Yes, it's a meal that you drink. One bottle contains 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and is low in sugar. Huel is a perfectly balanced meal designed by nutrition experts. It takes the guesswork out of healthy eating. It's a great product, and we have a great deal for you guys. All right, new customers, visit Huel.com, Huel.com/Bucknuts. Use my code Bucknuts to get 15% off your first order, plus a free gift. Huel is amazingly convenient, no prep, no hassle, just grab and open. And it tastes good. If it didn't taste good, I would not be endorsing it. They've got chocolate, they've got vanilla, which is what this is. They've got the strawberry banana and more. Tastes good, and most importantly, it's nutritious, and it's so easy. If you're commuting to work, perfect way to get a meal in a bottle. Again, new customers, visit Huel.com/Bucknuts today and use my code Bucknuts to get 15% off your first order plus a free gift. All right, Texas game at night. Man, I'm starting to think if I had to bet, because I would have bet heavily it was going to be at noon once they announced they were having it. But it was interesting that they didn't say when the game was going to kick off. So am I being too optimistic here? I don't know, because I'm not saying it's definitely going to be at night. I do think there's almost like a 50-50. I'm almost getting that vibe right now, which I would say is a good thing, because I was not getting a 50-50 vibe by any means that it would be at night. Because here's the thing, and there's been some Texas blocked it from being played on Sunday, which I don't even know how they have the right to do that, but they did. Texas does not have the right to block it being a night game. So if Ohio State if Fox decides they want to put it at night, Texas can't block that on Saturday night. And I think now there's enough smoke leading up to it, with Ohio State being ticked off about it, the fans being ticked off, and Fox knows, even though they love to talk about the ratings of Big Noon, they know, they're not stupid. Oh, well, if the ratings are X at noon with Ohio State and Texas, I mean, they would definitely be Y, and Y would be higher than X in this scenario. Whatever the ratings are at noon would definitely be better if they were in prime time. Would the ratings at noon be good? Of course they would be. As I say all the time, you can put Ohio State football on at 4 a.m. on a Wednesday, and it would get good ratings. So, but the point is, when would you get the best ratings? And if you're Fox, you would think that that would you still want to have your big noon kickoff. I get that, but you're not taking it away. You can even say it's because it could be like 98 or 100 degrees in the horseshoe at noon that day, because there absolutely is a good chance it would be. I've covered and been to openers in late August, early September, where it is just miserable with the humidity and the heat for a variety of reasons. Most especially, it's the Ohio State-Texas game. Let's just play it at night. We remember the game 20 years ago, how cool that was until it wasn't. Obviously, the result wasn't cool, but the atmosphere at Ohio Stadium, for any of you that experienced that when Texas came here 20 years ago, that was awesome. Some of the games that we've seen here, I mean, obviously Tennessee being the playoff game. I mean, that's example number one as far as recent And they want to do a lot of that stuff. J-Book was talking about that on the show Friday. He's got a contact inside Ohio State that helps with a lot of that stuff with the game day experience at the stadium. They've been waiting to do all that stuff, and they finally were able to break it out against Tennessee, and they put on a show. So as I sit here right now, I do think that there's a good chance it's going to be a primetime game. I don't see the point. I mean, 3:30 would be better than noon, but then you kind of would have to throw out the excuse of, well, it could be really hot. It'd still be very hot at 3:30, although it'd be a little cooler in the evening by then, you would think, that time of year. Still would be pretty hot, though, just for a variety of reasons that make sense. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I know all of you agree with this. Maybe there's one or two of you who would like it to be a noon game. And you guys know I like noon games personally. Selfishly, I like them. I get done working relatively early. I can still watch college football. I'm not doing what we learned live until the next morning. I'm not like signing off at like 1:30 a.m. or anything like that. So I like noon games, but this is the exception to that rule. Give me this game at night, and I am feeling optimistic. I'm about a 50-50. So I think, and I will take that for sure. Let me get there we go. Now I'm curious. So Henry on Facebook is saying he loves noon games. I do too normally. Harry, as I call you Henry, I'm sorry, Harry. I should know that's why Harry is a name that runs in my family. My middle name was almost Harry, but my mom didn't want to do that. My dad's name is Harry, actually. He says he loves noon games. Let me ask you this, Harry. What about the Texas game, though? Do you feel different about that? Or you like noon games across the board? It is kind of nice, in addition to, like, forget about what I do for a living. It is kind of nice, I think, even as a fan out there, right? Like, if Ohio State plays at noon, you don't have that all day waiting around for the game and the nervous energy. You just get up, get your stuff done, watch the game at noon. Buckeyes win, obviously. And then if the rest of the day, you watch the 3:30 games, you watch the night game. I think even as a fan, now, not if you're going to the game, but I mean, if you're sitting at home, I think typically a noon game is kind of nice. Not this one, though. Curious if Harry's going to respond. Screenshot away Princess Leia. I've not been keeping up. Doreen is talking about things that are way over my head. It's massive, All right, well, let me get to some of your questions here. I do have some more I'm going to get to. Race Car 32 on X. Texas doesn't want a night game because of recruiting. They'll have a better chance against Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, for a variety of reasons. It's like when we would talk about playing Penn State, we weren't shy about, yeah, good. I'm glad it's not a night game. I'm glad it's at noon because we always have to host them at noon. Turnabout's fair play. No whiteout at 8 o'clock at Beaver Stadium last year. We were totally cool with that, right? We were like, that's fine with us. I don't mind Texas, feeling that way. I'd feel the same. I wouldn't want to play Ohio State at night if I could pick against it. It's like, yeah, let's play a game at noon. Come on, stick with your big noon kickoff, Fox. Really, Ohio State, though, they need to throw their weight around. And again, they're locked into a contract right now. I get that. That contract ends in 2030. It doesn't end in 2050 or 2080. It ends in 2030. So if I'm Ohio State, I say, okay, yeah, we're stuck now. You can do whatever you want with us, right? You want to put us at noon every week? Great. When this next contract comes up, we're either getting a bigger piece of the pie or it's going to be written in there that we don't have the majority of noon games or we're not getting involved in this. And you're going to lose your biggest cash cow. Now, does Ohio State want to leave the Big Ten? Of course not. But, you can make some threats that maybe you wouldn't follow through with during negotiations. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that Florida State and Clemson are able to get a bigger share of the pie in the ACC, but Ohio State wouldn't in the Big Ten. Where's the logic there? And I think it's fine that Clemson and Florida State get a bigger piece of the pie than like Syracuse or whatever name of school. But shouldn't the same logic apply to Ohio State and the Big Ten? Why is Purdue getting the same cut as the Buckeyes? When the Buckeyes are not only the biggest cash cow, best ratings, they're the ones taking the bullet almost every week, playing the game at noon, pissing off most of the fan base, except for a few of us who don't mind the noon games. Again, though, I think it would be absolutely massive if they made this game an 8 o'clock game. And I think it'd be massive if Ross Bjork threw his massive weight around. He's the athletic director at Ohio State. Okay. Throw your weight around. Tony Petitti He should step in, throw your weight around. He's got some massive, massive pull. Tony Petiti, throw that weight around. All right, keep throwing in some massive questions. I'll get to as many as I massively can. Okay, and of course we're still basking. That's a given. All right, so throw some. If you already have asked a question, maybe throw it in here in a minute or so. I'm going to do a quick ad read, and I'll get to some. This is where I need a producer to throw some questions my way that I don't have to look up. But hey, I can walk and chew gum. Not very well. Sometimes the gum just flies out of my mouth. Not a very massive move on my part. What is massive is, I tell you what, man, cornbread hemp. Woo! I know you guys like it because they tell us you guys like it. Okay. Your Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners keep ordering our product. We're like, well, that's good. They're like, yes, we like that. So they continue to be one of our sponsors, and we like that. It is time to experience your healthy happy hour. Cornbread hemp provides a natural and healthier way to experience a carefree moment. Cornbread's THC gummies offer a balanced sense of happiness and relaxation. I mean, why do you think Dan Rubin looks so like happy and relaxed on every show? I can't even say relaxed. I'm trying to make a joke. I can't even say the word relaxed. Relaxed. But seriously, I mean, it's a great product. These are America's only USDA approved organic THC gummies. Real THC, no synthetics, 100% legal hemp, fast and free shipping. That's good, and good right there. I like that. If you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, you have to give cornbread hemp a try. They've created the first ever USDA organic THC gummy. It's 100% legal. As a special offer for our Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners, you can get 30% off your first order. 30% off, pretty good. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/bucknuts. Use promo code Bucknuts at checkout. Again, that's cornbreadhemp.com/bucknuts. Use code Bucknuts for 30% off your first order. Cheers to a healthier happy hour. There we go. All right, questions. Questions from the good people. Some massive, massive questions. I don't think that's a question. I don't think that's a question, Spider. I mean, the ingredients are natural. He's saying gum. I'm not. I hear you. We're having fun. Having fun on the show here. Yeah, I mean, Jason's asking about recruiting. 3 to 5 5-stars visiting this weekend. And I mean, I'm just following what Bill Kurlick saying. I agree with what he says. Ohio State, especially now, coming off a national, I mean, anytime this applies, this logic, but especially now, you get guys on campus for visits, Ohio State has a chance. I'm not going to make any predictions. That's Bill's lane. But I just would say follow along what Bill Kurlick is reporting. He is the dean of Ohio State football recruiting, as you guys all know. Why did Hero Canoe transfer? David on Facebook. It's a good question. Initially, I thought it was, they must have just promised him more playing time. He wasn't happy with his playing time. You have to wonder if he knew Patricia, although maybe it wouldn't matter. Because I don't think Knowles really liked him that much. Or maybe he didn't think Knowles liked him. I don't think it was anything personal. Knowles just didn't think that he deserved to play that much. And they were stacked on the defensive line last year, too. So I thought it was a combination of Texas told him he'd play more and NIL. But I forgot the rule that international students can't collect NIL. I just figured they just threw all rules out, period, when it came to NIL. But if you're serious, if you're in the United States on a student visa, you cannot have a job off campus. Now, I would contend a good lawyer could say, well, this is an on-campus job. He's getting paid for what he's doing on the football field. Then they'd be like, well, it's NIL. It's not technically supposed to be paid to play, but we all know it is. So I would think that I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on podcasts, but I am fascinated by the legal field. So part of me wishes I would have been a lawyer, but I didn't want to go through more school and too much reading. So I took the easy way out, became a sports journalist. But no, it fascinates me. You would think like a good lawyer or even a mediocre lawyer could make a salient argument that, wait a minute, this should not apply because students on student visas, international students on student visas can work on campus on any on-campus job, but typically those are like low paying, like very part-time jobs. So I know it's not the same thing, but I don't know. Why did he transfer? More playing time has to be the reason. Because NIL doesn't seem like he's eligible for that unless something has changed. Yeah, that is a dumb NIL rule, spider celery. I don't get it. 'Cause I remember Zach Edey had to deal with that. You know, when he was at Purdue, he was Canadian. Like, no, you can't do it. Like, okay, that's it just doesn't make any sense. All right. Yeah, I see you guys are still basking. I love that. I love that. Any final questions? I'm not gonna end the show yet. We'll figure out some stuff. We'll figure out some stuff to talk about here. Just if you have any there you go. Your Dublin son, Asian Posh Doreen. Dave needs a collab with Chris Drew, my Dublin son. Love it. I love it. Chris Drew's my guy. He's a good guy. He's very talented, rising star in our industry. I think Chris Drew does a really good job. Zach Smith. I've always enjoyed their podcast. Had a chance to hang out with them one time at a Roosters, just chilling out. Chris is a good dude. I know Doreen loves him. Shirts. I know, man. Hey, listen, you got it. You know, I love you too, Buck Rational, but you know, D Rubes has a crush on you. I would appeal to his senses. Like, he's in charge of that. I'm making him in charge of that. Okay, he gets to decide that. But like, seriously, that will be his call. So I would definitely harass Dan as much as possible. The fact that he loves you, I don't think he'll mind the harassment from you, Buck Rational. Taking one of his catchphrases and turning it into your username, oh, that will endear you. That'll endear you to Mr. Dan Rubin. As Dan would always, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Buck Rational took his name. Dan Rubin, most of you know this, would always say, when people will be like, well, the fans are acting crazy on Bucknuts. He's like, well, it's called Bucknuts, not Buck Rational Observers. We'd always use that. It's like Bucknuts, not Buck Rational Observers. And our guy, Buck Rational, took that as his name. It's very cool. Chris Drew getting a lot of love on the show. Rightfully so. He's a likable dude. He's loves his Buckeyes. He's good at what he does. Heck yeah. Could Hero transfer back? Mika. I think I saw that from Mika. You know, there's so many comments in here. If I miss one, then I scroll and I miss. I believe it was Mika. If it wasn't Mika, I apologize. It was somebody else. Could he transfer back? Yeah, I think he could. Are there any rules about that? Maybe that's the one rule, you can't transfer and then transfer back. I think you can, but now the portal's closed though. He would have had to put his name in the portal. That is the one rule that they actually adhere to. You can't just haphazardly put your name in the portal. Who knows? Maybe you can. I don't know. It seems like there's no rules in college football anymore. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the shout out from Jason there. A lot of great Buckeye shows out there. So that's if I'm in the discussion, I'll take it. Bucknuts Morning 5, not just me. I've seen some of it, Mika, and it's really cool because our buddy Doreen sent me a clip. Yeah. I think it's really cool that you guys are all doing this. Like, you guys are starting your own podcasts. Awesome. I'll support it when I can. Like, I'm, got a lot of irons in the fire, but definitely, I think it's really cool that some of you guys are starting your own podcast. Heck yeah. Why not, right? Can't talk too much about the Buckeyes. Or people are like, what? You're still doing your podcast the same amount of times as you do during the season? I'm like, listen, Ohio State football never sleeps, okay? When people ask, like, you still do it like throughout like May and June? Like, yeah. First of all, our listeners would revolt if we didn't, and we like doing it. Like, there's plenty to talk about. Yeah, I say it all. Ohio State football never sleeps, especially here in Columbus, Ohio. Ohio State football is massively massive throughout Buckeye Nation, obviously. And then here's the center of the massiveness in Columbus, Ohio. All right, I'm going to sign off now. Appreciate you guys very much. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. It's my first time talking to you guys since last Friday with J-Book. We took Monday off, so I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend with friends and family, and hope everyone has a great rest of your day. I appreciate you guys very much. Dan Rubin and the boys will be with you tomorrow talking recruiting, and I'll be with you with J-Book as usual on Friday. Thanks again to all of you. I appreciate it very much. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Go Bucks. Still basking.